Hello everybody from the headquarters of the World Tourism Organization in Spain. Warm special greetings to all of you following us actively on our social media, and we thank you very much for your continued support in helping us to spreading the message and the content we normally share with you on our channels. We are in a cold day here in Madrid with somebody you may know quite well, Mr. Taleb Rifai, UNWTO Secretary-General since 2009, although he has been serving at this organization since 2006. As Mr. Rifai will sadly leave us at the end of his mandate in the coming weeks, we thought it was an important momentum to have a short chat with him, and as this is going to be probably one of the last interviews he's going to conduct, we thought today we are going to be on your shoes and transfer to him some of the questions that you may have in mind. Mr. Taleb Rifai, UNWTO Secretary-General, thank you very much for your time. Welcome to this interview.
Thank you so much, Ruth. It's very kind of you.
You have been traveling to all corners of the world, supporting destinations when facing different types of crises, advocating sustainable tourism to many different stakeholders, addressing global media, meeting youngsters across the globe. How do you feel today, and what are the three key moments when you think about your service at UNWTO?
This has been an extremely rewarding 8, 9, 10 years. I have had the best 10 years of my life really here. They were challenging, they were difficult, but they were extremely rewarding. And I didn't know how much I grew up and how much I learned and how much I became different in these years until you start thinking and having some flashbacks of where you came from. So where I came from was a completely different setup. I was a public servant in my country. I was working in the private sector, working in academia, I was working in diplomatic service. But this is probably one of the most rewarding careers. And to answer your question directly on the three most important moments, I think the day I was elected was very important for me. It was a tough competition, but it went very well. And I felt the weight of the responsibility immediately, the minute after I was elected. And I carried it through until the very last day. So that's a very special moment to me. I can say also that the moment of approval of the International Year, the General Assembly of the United Nations approved the International Year of Sustainable Tourism for Development in 2015. That's a recognition of the hard work that has been done. Because to acknowledge tourism as a development agency and a development tool and a development sector was not easy. When we used to speak about tourism 10 years ago, we used to talk about it as if it's a big party, it's a fun thing. Nobody connected it to development, to jobs, to economy, to peace, to understanding between people. So this is an international acknowledgement. The third point I would say was last September when I was in Chengdu in China for my last General Assembly. It was a very emotional moment, especially in the last session of the General Assembly, when everybody was saying thank you, because I'm not used to people saying thank you to me. I'm used to saying thank you to people, really. It was a very touchy moment for me, and I think I could not control myself at that point in time. I would say these are some of the very special moments that I had. I can also say that one of the very special moments was the approval of the Global Code of Ethics to make it a convention. It's a very unique and a very special thing to do. And it was also a sign of member states saying, yes, we agree with you. Because I made it sound like it's the last thing I want you to do before I leave. And they did it. And I'm thankful to each and every one of them for that.
After more than a decade working in this organization of the United Nations system devoted to make tourism more sustainable, more accessible, and more inclusive, how would you define the evolution of the sector in the last decade?
Oh, it's moved tremendously. You have to remember that when I became Secretary General, it was 2008, 2009, where the worst was beginning the worst economic crisis ever. So the whole world was in panic. And the tourism sector proved to be an incredibly resilient sector, and a sector that was capable of recovering and picking up people from the pieces of a shattered economy to make it something that you can have some kind of hope and some kind of optimism. So the sector became more resilient, it proved itself much more. And it has moved to become more of a people's sector. The development in numbers, for example, it's amazing. Last year, as you know, we had 1.2 billion Now, if you compare that with only half of that, less than half of that at the beginning of the century, you can imagine the rapid speed of growth, the change in the profile of the people that are traveling. Today, everybody is traveling, not just the rich, not just the elite or gentlemen, so to speak, that want to travel to exotic places and come back and write books about these places. So tourism has moved from being an exclusive, not so engaging, not so involving sector, into a sector that's very effective in the development of any society, a sector that's about people, and a sector that is about enjoying life and at the same time making the life of people that you visit even better.
As you have mentioned, a lot has been achieved, but what could be the ideal evolution for this organization? What could you like UNWTO to be in the coming years?
I think it's already what it wants to be. It's part of the UN system, which is important. It's acknowledged as a development agency, which is important. I think what I'd like to see more is what I can say very clearly and very honestly, the only field where I failed really to deliver on some of the promises. You know, when I first took office in 2008, 2009 actually, we produced a white paper. And this white paper was our vision for the future. I was looking at it last week. Every single thing in that white paper was accomplished actually. Every single thing, except one thing. Increase the membership of this organization and include some of the members that are not members there. So what I'd like to see really, just to complete this beautiful experience, is for my successor to actually concentrate more on bringing in to the organization the countries that represent the rest of what this organization must be representing, and start to make this organization more encompassing, more representative of many countries, United States, UK, Canada, Australia, and so on and so forth.
Mr. Rifai, probably many people have sent you farewell messages in the last weeks, months. What do you have to say to them today? What is your recommendation to the tourism sector?
First and foremost, thank you. That's the biggest thing I want to say. Because sometimes when I receive these messages, I feel, while I appreciate what people are doing to me in terms of acknowledgement, I was simply doing my job. I didn't do anything extraordinary. But maybe that's what's extraordinary about it. I was being just myself and going about life, taking it day by day and doing it the best way we know how. So I'm very, very grateful to all of them. But my message to them in real terms and in substance is what I always like to end my speeches with, my presentations with. Please don't ever forget that you're in a much bigger business than what you are in today. If any one of us thinks that they're successful in their businesses because they're making more money, because they're becoming more famous, that's not enough. You need to be part of this movement that makes this world much better for future generations. If that's lost, nothing of what you do in life matters. No successes are really success. You have to leave, we have to all leave this world a better place than when we came into it. That's my message to everybody.
Now the questions that we all have in mind: where are we going to see you next, Mr. Rifai? Where are we going to meet you starting January 2018?
In my home country, in Jordan. I'm going back to my country where I started. I'm who I am because of my country. It made me who I am. So we have all debts to our countries and our societies and our people. And it's time for me to go home now. You're welcome to come home. I'll take you to the most beautiful places in the world, to Petra, to Jarash, to Faisal, to see Hashim, to see the beautiful restaurants, to eat falafel, to eat shawarma, to listen to the music. This is what Jordan is all about. I'd love to see you there.
Mr. Taleb Rifai, UNWTO Secretary-General, thank you very much. Good luck. All the best to you and your family.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ruth. Thank you. Thank you, my dear.